What is up, everybody? I've promised it for a while. I finally got my new setup. As you can see, there's a partial another monitor over there. Went for a 4-core, got 8 cores going now. Got a new machine, and I will, honestly, I'm going to shout them out if anyone sees this. There is a website called Build Redux. They made my entire setup for me, got everything done, came nice packaged, absolutely came perfect. Everything was done, extreme care, easy instructions, setup was awesome. Cannot recommend them enough. Build Redux, REDUX. Can't recommend them enough. They gave me an awesome setup. Case looks great, a lot of breathing room, everything. Just wanted to get that out of the way. They did a really good freaking job. But yeah, so we're done with another one here. Partial things that didn't expect to happen happened. One thing I did not at all expect to happen happened.
Do you want to rip the Band-Aid off now?
I'll let you. No, we'll do that later. I'm going to let you get the synopsis out.
Okay, so when we last left off, Bruno and Kamran met up at his apartment. Kamran has powers after Nakia or Najima. A
lot of similar same names. Don't worry about it.
After Najima sacrificed herself and pretty much poured the Noor into Kamran, giving him his honestly comic accurate powers. They're on the run now from Damage Control, who is totally not racist, or
no, not
at least Deaver is totally not at all racist.
Lots of follow orders too.
So they're on the run. Kamala now told the rest of her family, or really her mother told everyone, and she's like, yeah, so it's official. I have powers. And then pretty much the rest of the episode is just our core group against Damage Control.
Mm-hmm. And we've kind of got, you and me went over two situations we thought we were going to get with this episode, and we in a way got both of them. Because we kind of thought one was going to be, the crew of, I thought it was going to be the crew of those three versus Damage Control. We ended up getting 2 extras, which I thought was great. Nakia and Zoe were great. I think I just love that Nakia was, Zoe was like, yeah, I knew. I just wasn't a bitch and I didn't want to say anything. And then we also got, don't worry. Don't worry, I'm gonna get to that because they did it themselves. Yeah, this little comment from Derpy here will show. We're doing good, buddy. I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself? I got a new setup, so I'm very happy. Yeah, so getting those two in there was a welcome surprise. But the other part that we thought was going to possibly happen was going to be Kamran versus Kamala.
I'm glad that didn't happen.
It didn't happen, but it technically got Kamala versus Kamran's morals?
Kinda.
I guess. So we got a little bit of both, and I did like how it was done. But, okay, so. I have no system. So, I did like how, in a weird way, we kept getting the, I don't want to say, we kept getting, like, parts of the costume so by like the 5th episode we had almost all of her costume, and then we point blank the mom was just like, this is what you want to be, you've loved this your whole life, here.
It's I don't know what it is about the mothers of superheroes making the costume, but it's just so wholesome. It does remind me a little bit of Ma Kent making Superman's costume.
It is great. And you have to love that, like, part of her had to look in her room like, she loves this girl. I have to make it somewhat like that, but make it different enough to where it's hers. And it's got the lightning bolt, so it is different enough.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I didn't expect about Damage Control, although, oh boy, does it make sense. What I want to say, that it makes sense that with the name... all of a sudden they were going to have this big old attack on the high school. And then the guy was like, we're not doing this. This is dumb. Literally trying to play Damage Control on Damage Control. And then she's like, no, we're going to capture these kids. We're going to attack these children at a high school, and we're going to be the good guys.
I wonder if this is going to come up in She-Hulk, because part of like I rewatched the trailer for that last night, and you know, part of the thing about that show is Jennifer Walters is kind of heading up the superhero legal team.
Yep.
And I wonder if like events like this and possibly the Sokovia Accords are like going to be things that are like addressed.
I'm so interested to hear what the time frame of when this started is, because it's like going to be part of me of like Jen sitting at her desk and then like they really attacked 2 superpowered kids at a high school. Like I don't know where it's going, so they have a lot of cool stuff that they could play with that, so that's kind of cool. One thing I have to say, and oh boy, did I never thought I would take up compliments with the Devil May Cry DMC reboot, which Mike, I know you know nothing about, but Capcom back in the day, they did a lot of outsourcing with their products before recently with the big Renaissance, which you've heard me and Tyler talk about Resident Evil nonstop. They pulled everything in-house, but back before they did, they had one of my favorite series, Devil May Cry, shipped out to this place called Ninja Theory. And there's this one scene where this girl, Kat, is drawing on a blackboard out these plants. And like as you're going through the level, you actually see the eraser and like the chalk marks like peer up in the hallways of like where you have to go. It's really well done. It's the coolest thing that's ever been done by one of their visual effects for that game, for the part of what they did. And then seeing her with the chalkboard, drawing everything out was great.
By the way, this episode was directed by the same team who did the pilot. So and that was remember in the first episode where they were drawing up the scheme to sneak out and go to AvengerCon.
That's right. That was very reminiscent of that. That is very true. The kids thought Adventure on boy, they never heard of Secret Wars. Yeah, Secret Wars is gonna. Well, sadly, I'm gonna bring up a comment. Sadly, they have heard of Galactus. They just heard of the version that Fox made that looks like a fart cloud. So Galactus has been brought up, just not in a good way. But anyway, so that was cool. I thought that was a great representation. The idea of them like Saturday morning cartooning the cops throughout the high school was awesome. I love that so much.
Everything from like, you know, the foam in the chemical lab to
exactly
just stopping them with softballs. All just perfect.
Absolutely. And it's so much just like, we're not going to talk about how they technically assaulted them with a chemical weapon if we're going to talk about it with that stuff. But I'm like, that's funny. But I will tell you, a little bit of the Flash CW popped up in here. And I'm going to address this right now. It is dumb, but slightly excusable when a hero takes their mask off to breathe when they are panicked. Kamala, why on God are you taking your domino mask off when you're trying to relax?
I don't understand that.
That made no sense. That was single-handedly the dumbest thing that has been done in any of these Marvel TV shows.
Thankfully, nobody else was looking, but still.
Thankfully. But there was a group of just 6 dudes waiting to be like, just never do that again. Ever. Never do that again. That was the only dumb thing you did. The rest of this was great. But yeah, trust me. I try to forget about that derpy. Trust me. I'm glad that they didn't. Sometimes with these comic book movies, even with Marvel, and sometimes even now in the day and age with DC, comics are dumb. Comics are very dumb. They are inherently dumb. But they can be done in ways where you understand the dumb, and the dumb can be okay. I'm so glad they actually use the word embiggen still.
Yes.
I'm so glad. Because that is such a tied word to her that I'd be more pissed if they didn't use that than her not looking like she's stretching.
Yeah. Wait, can we back up for a second?
Yeah,
And address Zoe just popping in.
that was funny. And I owe you for saving my life. Where the hell were you? It's like the theater's got really good lighting. I use it for my TikToks. That was the most accurate teen statement they have said in this entire show.
Yep.
I'm just going to throw that out there. My non-blood little sis. Somehow, if you watch this, Adelie, I love you. But I could see everyone of her generation saying that. And I have heard of thumbs like, what's the best room to do it? Or really? But, again, they have this great fight and all this stuff out with the cops, just showing how bad damage control can get. And they made a heel face thing with Deaver. And they kind of made good and bad in showing all this. One thing I will tell you that I thought was great, and again, you don't know this because you don't play video games, but I'm going to stream it one of these days, so when I do, I would like you to watch it. In the Spider-Man Miles Morales video game, they have the end boss fight, and then these people come up to investigate, and Miles' mask is ripped off because he's like consoling someone who turned villain that was like a childhood friend of his. And he's trying to, like, in her dying moment, save her from like blowing up the city because she had this giant overreaction to something and her plan went bad and he couldn't talk her down. So he like shoots her into the air, sends her up, it goes off, and then he goes back down and he crashes, and his mom, Rio, comes and picks him up. And she's like talking with him, but he's having a hard time. And then all of these just people come around when these cops come looking about the damages being done. And they're just like, who is that? We need to see him. What's up with that? Oh, him? That's our Spider-Man. You ain't seeing him. And
that's a total Spider-Man motif.
Oh, I love it so much when they do it correctly. And this even, how it was like, they had the community plus the actual law enforcement are like, what are you doing?
That was awesome.
Because normally it's like, no, we got to do whatever, blah, blah, blah. But like, no, it was there. Yeah. So that was great. And like Deaver got fired or just relieved of duty for pulling this stunt?
I want to assume that she got fired because, again, damage control has a reputation, and they can't just go around like beating up children.
That is true. To answer Derpy's thing quick, and we'll see how they do that. They've done interesting ways. I'll introduce this anyway. They've done stuff in interesting ways, and honestly, with Galactus, they have a ton of stuff going on in Marvel right now. I don't want Galactus anywhere near it. They can just deal with the Skrulls and anything else they want to do. If Galactus is around, I want literally nothing going on but them dealing with Galactus.
Same.
And we are not,
at least for right now.
And I don't want Galactus around until we have the Fantastic Four fully fleshed out and good to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Don't even think about Galactus until you know you fixed the Fantastic Four, which I have full faith in them to do because, oh boy, I know the bar is 14 stories below my house, but they already made a better Reed Richards for 10 minutes.
And he might not even be the Reed Richards.
Yeah, I know. I had to laugh so hard when they pulled that Office joke where they're like, oh no, what is his name again? I keep wanting to say Jim. The guy who played Reed Richards, what's his name? I'm blanking.
Oh, John Krasinski?
John Krasinski. How they said he's already had another role because they had the guy from WandaVision.
Oh.
That plays the Asian version of him in The Office. So he's like, it's kind of cheap that he gets two different roles. But, yeah. And then we got, again, the very commonplace thing with all of social media lighting up about her. That was pretty cool.
One of the people in those like social media reactions was the writer G. Will Wilson.
Oh, really? Did she get a big spot, or just it was kind of shorter?
She's the one who said like she looks kind of familiar.
Nice. My favorite one by far was the kid she dropped and broke his leg. Oh, I guess I was just a beta tester. Cool though. Oh man, yeah. Did you see that leak of a certain someone that was trending yesterday? Man, I would need a lot more specific details, Derpy, but I will say no. Right now, I may or may not have. But anyway, so I want to say Disney learned a massive lesson. A massive, massive lesson. Because I will tell you right now, I do not think that there's anything in my life that Disney has done to piss me off more. And I'm being serious here. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I like it, but I'm not one of those diehard that's going to go like want to burn down Disney because they make mistakes or something that's not the canon for how the Force works. In Star Wars Solo, a Star Wars story, when he walks up to that guy and he says he's alone, he's like, "Oh, so you're Solo, huh?" Writes name down in directory. That I almost walked out of the theater. I was that irritated. Versus here, you have a generous, heartwarming discussion about what Kamala means in Arabic and in Urdu.
I love that quite a bit.
That was so good.
It even just sounded like a natural conversation between like a father and their daughter.
Exactly. And that's not something that would be anything out of the ordinary. And Derpy, if it appears anywhere, I don't believe that as long as I can live. I'll tell you that right now. No. Even if that did leak, guess what? He was supposed to leak and appear at the end of Avengers and Avengers Infinity War, Age of Ultron, and Endgame. They've had real images every time, so don't believe that. Just letting you know. Just being nice. But anyway, the fact that they're trying to have a kid and then they finally have one and it was perfect, and they literally named her after something that means perfect or marble, that's pretty spot on.
And then his reaction when she's like, "I'm named after Carol frickin' Danvers," and he's like, I don't know who that is.
I don't know. It's such a dad. It's such a dad thing. I was supposed to know. What? Because I bet you she's never. I don't know if she said Carol Danvers. She probably always says Miss Marvel.
Probably.
It's. But anyway, we need to discuss the next part here because again, I do not know a lot about Miss Marvel. I don't know her original one, but I know a little bit about the updated version. That she was supposedly an Inhuman?
Yes.
Is it just me? Or is Marvel trying their damnedest outside of fixing Black Bolt? Trying to go, we're never mentioning Inhumans again.
I think that's exactly what's happening.
Because let's talk about it together, kids. They even played the music stinger when they said mutation.
I was reading an interview, and the directors were like, "We have no idea." Like they were reading the script, and they're like, "We have no idea what this means." And Feige's like, "Just shoot the scene, add some music, and the audience will fill you in."
And like, okay, so like a little bit behind the scenes here. A little bit. Me and Mike aren't recording this the day of it happening. I was just dead tired yesterday after work and I passed out. So I got the end credit scene and this pretty much spoiled up the wazoo. But even I was kind of like just watching it like, they're making Miss Marvel a mutant. Like, I don't hate that.
I have two reasons why I think this is a positive for the MCU at large. Number one, it means we could get as far away from the disaster that was Inhumans as possible. And number two, this sets up a good foundation for how the MCU will handle mutants.
Yeah.
And I even tweeted out last night, like I am no longer nervous about how the MCU handles the X-Men.
Yeah.
And going back to earlier, like the disagreements between Kamala and Kamran, it felt like a softer version of Xavier versus Magneto.
It did. There was a little bit out there how they're going to accept us. Like, man, I do like I said, I kind of felt that too. And you saw it. Like, he was point blank trying to harm them, just trying to get away. He's just like, come on, man. And I will be serious. If they just had those versions in Doctor Strange or in a Doctor Strange just to show, hey, this is one last hurrah, we got them to show up in the MCU. I'd be very happy if Patrick Stewart was just in the MCU, just to be there. But then them showing just like they exist, that means their variant is somewhere over there. And there's no rule that they have to look the same. If they need to bend something a little bit, they could do that. And yeah, just the idea that they're okay to play around with certain things where you don't have to do a movie's or a whole show's worth of stuff that wouldn't be missed if they didn't show it, and you could be like, they're a mutant. I'm okay with that.
Even the line that Kamala says, like, oh, it's just gonna be another label.
Yeah, exactly. Which that was great. She just threw it to the side, like, I already know I'm not normal guy. But yeah, that was pretty good. And just like how they didn't play it, and she immediately just cast it off. She didn't like turn to the camera and go, like, I was very happy with that because they could have hammed the fisted the shit out of that, and they didn't. But yeah, that was done really well. I could tell you could have gave me a billion guesses on a what do I want to say? Group drop in Miss Marvel? Wouldn't have been X-Men. Not at all. Maybe a Kree? Could have saw a Kree showing up. Or like a Skrull? Something. Could have saw that. The fact that they're just going to be like, yeah, there's mutants. They're just here. Like,
also, San Diego Comic-Con is like a week away. And this episode happens to drop like, to give audiences a little bit of downtime. I'm pretty sure we're getting some more X-Men related news at the Marvel panel.
We'll see, because like now there's rumors going around about casting of Emma Frost, which I'm not going to bring up, but like there's stuff happening. Like if they start making X-Men films, they need a big cast. They need a committed cast.
This might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think I want X-Men movies anymore. I think I would rather have TV shows. And we are getting one. It's the animated continuation of the 92 series.
Here's the thing with this. I would not mind X-Men films as long as they are not afraid to vary up the cast every time.
Yes.
Make like that one was an X-Men film. That one was an X-Force film. That one was a Bubba. As long as you actually be like, you're not stuck with these same 6 people for 3 movies, and then you get random one-offs. Show how freaking big the X-Men universe is and how badly Fox botched it. They could have so easily had their own MCU off of just X-Men. It blows my mind how badly that was handled. To quote John Campea, in the halls of Fox planning, continuity, schmontinuity.
Yep.
Oh, wow. And that was one of those things where, like, I've talked with you about this. They basically rebooted those every time a new film came up.
Basically, yeah.
They did not care about the previous films, but just, like, make it something special. Realize how big of a thing you just got back with the X-Men. I've trusted you on everything.
I'm not even saying, like, those movies are bad. There's, like, a couple of them that I think are better than certain MCU titles.
Absolutely.
But just on the whole, I think this is an opportunity to, I guess, make the definitive version.
They could, and they could make, like, Do you want to see Gambit getting into something? Give him a freaking series. Doesn't need to be 6 episodes, because I felt this could have been better if you had a different number on it. Boy, do you need to break that, but it looks like they are, thank God. Yeah, you got a big opportunity. Good Lord, go dumb. And I mean James Gunn, Suicide Squad stupid.
Yeah, give us like Savage Island or just like the Savage Lands. Give us I don't know, give us more like space adventures.
Yeah.
Have Rogue be the villain of the Marvels.
Dude, I was going to bring that up if you didn't. If the first mutant we see is Rogue, and she actually steals part of Mrs. Marvel's powers, like how she got her flying and shit, I am going to orgasm in that theater. I don't know who they're going to pick to play her, but that would be the coolest shit ever. One last comment before we get to the end here. I will agree with you. That movie was hot trash. You wasted Jessica Chastain. Oh, did you waste her? But I will tell you, that movie broke my brain for Magneto. It literally ruined Magneto for me.
Sadness.
And not the character. His protection from Professor X. All this time, they're like, I can't affect Magneto because he's got his helmet. I can't do this. I can't do that because he's got the helmet that blocks the waves. Jean Grey just goes, boop, and just telepaths the helmet off of him. I've been watching X-Men since I was 4. How did that not happen until the Dark Phoenix movie? How? They fooled him with a wooden gun in the Fantastic Four cartoon in the 90s. But anyway, enough of that. We're moving on. 2, one thing we talked about how we didn't know it was all going to come up in here. She's just there.
Now, a thing about this was actually directed by Nia DaCosta during the filming of the Marvels.
Oh, that makes sense.
Which actually gets me a lot more interested in that movie.
It like what? I am more. What happened? Like
that's what I want to know.
Like literally, I was like, I was gonna see the movie anyway. I liked Miss Marvel more than most people. Will I say it's an Oscar winner? No, but I liked it better than most people. I think Brie Larson gets a ton more shit than she deserves. But who caused it? What was Carol doing that she body swapped with Kamala? For a hot second, I thought she literally body swapped with her.
That's what I thought too. But then like she instead of going into the like looking at the mirror, she just looks at the room.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, she was teleported, but where? Who knows?
I don't know. But now it's gonna be literally them going like, well, either I don't know where the kid is, or oh shit, I know where the kid is, or actually C, I don't know where the hell I am, but I know I'm in some kid's room because she doesn't know where she got teleported to. Because she obviously looked very confused that she had this kid's room full of posters.
You think maybe someone found the other bangle and that's how she got teleported?
Maybe? I don't know. Because we never found the other freaking bangle in the show.
True.
And like that has to deal with the Nor and not her. I don't. Also, in case you haven't noticed, we have never gotten a true synopsis for the movie, which again, we're probably going to get next week, but still. Which they've kind of done a lot. Even if they give you a synopsis, they're unbelievably vague with these last few MCU 4 films, which I've been happy with. I had no idea I had the general idea of what might happen in Thor I almost said Thor the Dark World, in Thor Love and Thunder. A lot of that I had no freaking idea what was going on when I came into it. I was happy. I'm okay with that. You can show me a lot of cool stuff and not know what's going on. You can show me those kind of trailers because that's what happened with Thor: Love and Thunder. I was very happy with that marketing.
The marketing for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was totally different from the actual movie.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. And again, do that more often. I love it. It's great. I don't even care if you lie to me like you did with Infinity War, where you're just totally CGIing people out of shots. Or just adding totally fake shots in the first place. But yeah, I'm very happy with how this turned out. This is a good little show. And it stayed low level.
I think after this finale, this is probably either my second or just my favorite MCU show. My top 3 in no particular order is this, Loki, and Hawkeye.
I would swap. This does not mean that I don't like this because this is probably sitting at 4. Mine would be Hawkeye, Loki, and Moon Knight.
Moon Knight was number 3, but this one kind of knocked it down.
Yeah, and then this is sitting with WandaVision, which again, it takes a lot for me to like you more than WandaVision, because every week I didn't know what the hell was happening. And that was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're ready to get the heck on out of here. This was really good. And I had this whole thing go through and everything looked great. I cannot tell you how freaking happy I am that I have this new setup now. Again, everyone build a Redux. They have a teal blue R that is pretty much the same as like the inner of the iris of my logo. Build BUILD Redux REDUX. They do great. I got it within like 2.5 weeks of when I did my order, and it was securely packaged. It was great. Give them a shot. They're awesome. I cannot recommend them highly enough. All right, Mike, let's get the heck on out of here.
All right, you guys can find me on Twitter at CaptainK42. You can check out my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And you can find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. You can check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can also find us on YouTube, Podchaser, The Banana Meter. Listen to all of our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need to escape? So do we.
Absolutely. And you can find me everywhere at Organoid Zero. And now that I have my better streaming setup, I'm going to be streaming a lot more. So everyone, Derpy, if you would like, I stream at Organoid Zero, like the Twitter handle here. Play a lot of story-driven games, stuff like that. Streams will be back to 2 minimum, maybe 3 times a week now that I actually have a good setup and a better capture card where I don't have the stupid freaking sync delay that I have to try and worry about. It's all going to be good. Just I'm kind of looking at Avengers material. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. It's a lot better than my last one because, oh boy, did my laptop was flatlining when I tried streaming. I had that thing for a good 8 years. That thing was very good to me. But all right, yeah, we're going to get out of here. Until next time, we will see you all later. Bye!
Peace.